I started having headaches and, a really bad sore throat, like it can blow up your voice box or something like that. And yeah, eventually I also started developing fever. And as soon as I told Luke my symptoms, Luke freaked out.
People who are more fortunate in Kenya can think about how they can help other communities. So if you live near an informal settlement, trying to get them some supplies so they can have better hygiene.
Hello, welcome to Tuko Talks. My name is Lynn Gogi. Now, Kenya's born Sandra and her husband Luke have just finished their self-quarantine period in the UK after exhibiting coronavirus-like symptoms. They are our special guests today on this episode of Tuko Talks. They will be talking to us on how to do this as a couple and why they think Kenya's government is doing the best they can in the fight against COVID-19. So, without further ado, please allow me to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn.
So, my name is Sandra. This is my husband, Luke. We currently live in the UK in a city called Norwich. For those of you who have seen Norfolk Hotel, that's basically our county. So Norwich is inside Norfolk. And yeah, it's such a great pleasure to do this interview and share with you a little bit about our experience with dealing with this virus. And yeah, thank you once again.
Thanks for having us. So I think first we were going to just tell our story a bit.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll start with you because you had the virus worse than I did.
Yeah, so I came back from work one Monday and I was feeling really bad. Mostly extremely tired. I thought like I had overworked myself the previous day, but as the hours went by, I started having headaches and a really bad sore throat, like it can blow up your voice box or something like that. And yeah, eventually I also started developing fever, and as soon as I told Luke my symptoms, Luke freaked out.
I stayed cool.
No, you freaked out.
I stayed cool.
Yeah, so Luke freaked out and he said, we're going on quarantine, Sandra, and I have to call my boss and say both of us are not going to work tomorrow. So that's how we started our isolation. Because in the UK, if you have any symptoms, then you're supposed to isolate yourself for 7 days, and for the people who live with you inside the house,
for 14 days.
Yeah, so Luke was doing 14 while I was doing 7. But go on.
So that was okay, and then we started doing isolation and Sandra wasn't too sick, and after about 4 days of her being very tired, so sleeping all day, having sore joints, then she sort of got better, and then the next day her chest got really bad, so she was like coughing, having coughing fits, and not being able to breathe that well. So she'd be just coughing so much she couldn't breathe, and then saying her chest was tight. So then I was starting to get worried, and we were calling the health service. And they're very busy right now because everyone's getting sick with the virus. So
yeah, it's really bad to get through. You can stay on the phone for over an hour just waiting.
Yeah. So eventually we found we couldn't really get support, but luckily her disease didn't get any worse and she was able to slowly recover, and then after that we were just trapped in our house for a little bit.
Yeah. Which
was much better after we'd recovered.
Second question that Lynn had for us was, what are Kenya's weaklings in the fight against corona? What do you think so far from what we've had in the news and what we've seen and heard from our friends back at home?
Well, I think there's weaknesses being done by the government, so the policing of people breaking the curfew is not very helpful, so pushing people together and then hitting them with sticks or tear gas, that's a good way to spread the virus because you're forcing people
I was shocked by that.
very tightly together, and that's how the virus spreads. And at the same time, people ignoring curfew because they don't think it's serious, which that was why me and my wife were arguing when she first came home with the symptoms, because she just wanted to go back to work to get money, which I know a lot of people want to do, especially in Kenya, where they need to work to get food in a lot of cases. But yeah, so I think the government has to engage with people better and educate them and not be so violent towards them. And people also need to try and listen to the public health experts and see what's the best they can do, because everyone can do something, but basically just wash your hands as much as possible, and if you cough.
But washing your hands as much as possible is really rough for Kenyans, because a lot of people live in places where they see water like once a week if they're lucky.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something people who are more fortunate in Kenya can think about, how they can help other communities. So if you live near an informal settlement, trying to get them some supplies so they can have better hygiene.
And what is Kenya doing right in the fight against Corona? I feel like I'm off the interview.
You're turning into Lynn.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Lynn. I'm taking over your job.
Right. I'll do one, and then we can swap to you.
Okay.
So for me, the best thing they did very well was to react quickly. So there was only a very small number of cases going in Kenya before they tried to shut everything down. And I know that's, for people who have normal life going on, it seems like a big inconvenience and a big hassle. But if you have like a fire starting, you don't wait till the fire is huge to start dealing with it. You have to try and stop it while it's still small and manageable, so that things don't get really out of hand. So that was something they did really well, and much better than the UK, in fact, because we let it spread quite a lot. And now we have, I think today we had 600 people die in a single day, and the number dying each day is still going up. So Kenya responded quickly, which is great.
I mean, I would also say this is in line with my sister's perspective, from my sister's experience, with what she's told me, because my sister currently is in quarantine at KMTC, because that's where they're holding everyone who has come into the country. Okay, not really everyone, but a big number of people who has come into the country and has to go into quarantine for 14 days. So so far, she's told me that they've been given bed sheets, blankets. The food has also improved. The toilets where they are also being cleaned regularly. And also a few days ago, they started doing tests on them to see if any of them was showing like signs and symptoms of the virus. So I think that's a good thing. I mean, the government can obviously do more, but knowing Kenya and his history with the government, I think that's sort of a good thing that they're actually doing. Finally, the last question is, what has worked for you guys during this period of quarantine? So what we've been doing that we've found helpful and helped us not to lose our minds and go crazy.
Yeah, because we just have this room, so... Yeah,
we live in a very tiny room currently. So for those of you who have more than one rooms in their house, you're very lucky.
Also, we have been having friends come and deliver food to us.
Yeah.
And that's been great, having support from our friends and also from our work. My work, at least, has been letting me work from home, so it's great if businesses can think how they can let their employees not come into town so much to decrease the risk of the virus spreading.
And for me, I'd say I'm a little bit fortunate, because in the UK, the government is probably going to pay us for being at home, and this is something that encourages a lot of people to stay at home. And I know very well that this is something the Kenyan government can probably not do for the people. So that is one thing that has worked in the UK, at least not having to worry so much about how you'll be able to take care of your family while you're unemployed, technically.
It's coronavirus is like a big challenge and really hard, but it's also a time where people can support each other, and there's like a lot of new challenges, but we're seeing in the UK people are behaving differently, trying to listen to the advice being given, helping each other out. So we're finally out of isolation, and now Sandra's looking forward to doing some volunteering to help out vulnerable people who can't look after themselves so well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to helping out people we know as well with delivering supplies while they're isolated. So it's also a chance to connect with people differently. We've been doing Skype calls and phone calls with people more than normal.
Yeah.
To try and have some social life while you're in one room.
Yeah. Playing a lot of games with people online.
Playing board games. Singing badly.
Yeah, checking up on families. Yeah, basically whatever we can do over the internet, basically, without having to interact with too many people. Do you have any last words, Luke?
I'm fine, thanks, Lynn. What about you, Sandra?
Well, for me, what I can say is, I know this video might not do much, or but for us, especially for me as a Kenyan who is living far away from home, it gets really lonely out here, and you're always worried about the people back at home, because family is family and home is home. So just the thought of knowing at least my sister is getting some help in some way it makes me feel a bit better. I would tell people, they have been through worse, so they shouldn't really be worried so much about this. They'll get through it as they've gotten through everything else.
But still wash your hands.
Yeah,
blow
but
your nose.
Still wash your hands and maintain social distancing.
I hope this episode of Tuko Talks was informative, and remember, we are asking you to send us your stories from all over the world using the contact details provided at the description box below. My name is Lynn Gugi. Till next time, bye-bye.